Hi there, and thanks for joining me for this week's edition of your Wheel and Anchor weekly newsletter, where I'm coming to you from the Baltic coast of southern Estonia. Beautiful part of the world here. I continue my journey around this region in search of new off the beaten track adventures for our members. And so I'll be certainly speaking to you in the future more about this and the other Baltic countries. But for now, this week, I'm pondering a little bit while I'm here into what is it that makes us as travelers want to seek out these off the beaten track kinds of destinations. Is it simply our own thirst for adventure, for learning, for understanding new cultures, for what the meaning of life is for other people around the planet? Or is it something a little bit more simple, ego-driven, as keeping up with the Joneses, as it were, to be sort of staying ahead of where our friends and family members might have traveled? Or perhaps it's the notion of a life-fulfilling sort of quest or dream to expand your horizons. And I've always maintained the philosophy that you can't really expand your horizons without traveling beyond them. But whatever it is for you, and I invite you to ponder that and perhaps give me your feedback about your concept of off the beaten track travel. And in that very vein, I'm really excited to announce the newest and perhaps one of the most exciting off the beaten track destinations in our repertoire, and that is our new Silk Road adventure that's going to happen in March of 2025. The Silk Road and the area of the so-called Stan countries, that's Uzbekistan, Tajikistan, Kyrgyzstan, Turkmenistan, and so on, is a part of the world that we actually don't hear about in this day and age, unless there's some major incident that occurs there. And it's fascinating because it is really, again, a mix of cultures and countryside that you really won't find anywhere else other than, of course, going there. And so we're going to be traveling there on a special train journey in the end of March and April 2025, and I'm going to be holding a webinar about that subject on October the 12th. So if your lust is for off the beaten track adventures, then this is certainly one of those once in a lifetime type experiences, because quite frankly, most of us will probably not consider a repeat trip to the Stan countries as we might do with France or Italy or one of the more sort of conventional destinations in Europe. On our journey, which is going to take us 2 weeks across this vast region, we're going to start in Tashkent, the capital of Uzbekistan, and we're going to be visiting such incredible places as Bukhara, which is one of the most famous trading posts along the ancient Silk Road. We're also going to be taking in Khiva, a desert city, UNESCO designated in the central part of Uzbekistan. We'll visit Dushanbe, the capital of Tajikistan, and learn a little bit more about the nomadic culture and heritage of that very mountainous country on the borders to Afghanistan. Our train is going to take us also into Kyrgyzstan, a country that is perhaps best known amongst adventure travelers for Lake Issyk-Kul, one of the highest and largest alpine lakes in the world, set amongst the backdrop of some incredible mountains. And our journey will culminate in Almaty, Kazakhstan, which is a giant country, mostly practically uninhabitable. It's a huge step in Central Asia, and we'll also take in an extension program up to Astana, or Nur Sultan, although they keep changing the name of this capital city, this very modern and striking example of capital cities. It was built sort of in the middle of nowhere by one of Kazakhstan's long-standing rulers. Anyway, this amazing trip, as I say, will be limited to a relatively small group of around 12 to 18 of our members. And so I invite you to join me for that webinar that, again, will happen on October the 12th at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. All the details, as usual, below, as with all of the other exciting programs that we have coming up. So Again, take a moment to think about off the beaten track. I've mentioned it in a few of the past webinars. It's always a request that we get, and yet what I find interesting is that some people's notion of off the beaten track differs greatly from others. So your feedback is always welcome, and I will look forward to catching up with you again in next week's newsletter.